Hello, friends, and welcome to my little series of in depth reviews ranking every single 2025 Michelin Bib Gourmand restaurant in Chiang Mai, Thailand, from best to worst. I lived in Chiang Mai in October, November, and December of 2024. So I've eaten at every single one of these places a few more than once. These are legit personal experiences, old fashioned, in depth reviews, not an AI conjured listicle generated and regurgitated by quote unquote travel bloggers who have either never left their sofas in London or LA or made a quick 2-day stop in Chiang Mai, ate at 3 of these restaurants, and copy pasted the rest. I hope this helps you enjoy Chiang Mai. Before we begin, a short PSA because there seems to be confusion on TikTok, Douyin, etc., and even in real life about what exactly a Michelin restaurant is. To be specific, lots of people doing it for the gram seem to not actually understand the star system. If you search on the Michelin website, there are 5 distinctions: selected, Bib Gourmand, and either 1, 2, or 3 stars. First, let's talk about the selected category. According to Michael Ellis, the one-time international director of Michelin Guides, quote, "A restaurant in the selection without a star or Bib Gourmand is the sign of a chef using quality ingredients that are well cooked, simply a good meal. It means that the inspectors have found the food to be above average, but not quite at star or bib level," end quote. Any restaurant of any level can solicit a visit from Michelin, and if nothing goes wrong, they have a chance of ending up in this category. In my observation over a few years, this category is also sort of a graveyard for restaurants that previously had a bib or even a star, but were not consistent year over year and got downgraded. Michelin inspectors are famously anonymous, but are they really? I think in some places, namely high trust societies, they are. And in some places, low trust societies where bribes are the norm, perhaps they're really not. And I also believe that that's reflected in the ratings. That's just my personal impression, having been a full time traveler for 6 years who's seen half the world. Take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, I think if any introductions or bribes are happening, they're happening at this level. So, what is Bib Gourmand, all the restaurants on this playlist? It's Michelin's award for providing best value for money. According to the website, quote, "simple yet skillful cooking at an affordable price," end quote. When the distinction was first rolled out in 1997, it meant a 3-course high quality European meal for a lower than market price. But as Michelin expanded beyond Europe and its cultural diaspora, that ceased being the standard. Now, the Bib Gourmand is really Michelin's way of appealing to younger and less moneyed demographics by including street food and other hole in the wall type places. Along the way, unfortunately, the value equation has been lost, in my opinion, with wildly different types of restaurants getting lumped into Bib Gourmand, from rather pricey attempts at fine dining that still just don't merit a star to entirely unexceptional street food. Bib Gourmand restaurants are supposed to have uniformly higher quality and value than selections. But again, that honestly hasn't been my experience. That's not to say all selections are equal to all Bib Gourmands. They are not. I would say on average, Bib Gourmands are better than selections, but I go once, I go twice. Perhaps Michelin is really sticking to its gold standard of sending multiple inspectors to the same restaurants multiple times a year to order as many dishes as they can. But at the Bib Gourmand level, do you really think they are? I'm not so sure. I've gotten a distinct impression that some Bib Gourmands are fighting, dreaming, trying to eventually get a star, while others are, dare I say, tourist traps that impressed an inspector at some point with their exoticism, authenticity, and perhaps a little cash in palm, but have no culinary merit. Or perhaps an inspector felt pressure from above, from Michelin, to include some places like this and didn't waste their time on judging which. Then, of course, there are the stars. I'm not going to go into it in depth here because it's irrelevant. No restaurant in Chiang Mai has ever received a Michelin star. Influencers advertising their Michelin star meals in Chiang Mai, Thailand, are doing it for the clicks, out of ignorance, or both. To quote Michelin, stars are awarded for the food on the plate, nothing else. Not decor, formality, service, or even the wine pairings, though they're more cagey about that one, saying that in good restaurants, quote, that problem tends to take care of itself, end quote. To further quote the Michelin website, quote, one Michelin star is awarded to restaurants using top quality ingredients, where dishes with distinct flavors are prepared to a consistently high standard. Two Michelin stars are awarded when the personality and talent of the chef are evident in their expertly crafted dishes. Their food is refined and inspired. Three Michelin stars is our highest award, given for the superlative cooking of chefs at the peak of their profession. Their cooking is elevated to an art form, and some of their dishes are destined to become classics, end quote. So one more time, there are no Michelin stars in Chiang Mai. I am dealing exclusively with Bib Gourmands, the wild west of the Michelin world, ranking them best to worst in this playlist. Number one, in my opinion, one of the best restaurants in Chiang Mai, certainly the best restaurant to receive the Michelin Bib Gourmand, Rasik's Local Kitchen. According to Michelin, quote, this chef's table experience showcases seasonal flavors and beloved Thai classics. The talented chef interacts with guests from the open kitchen and uses traditional cooking methods such as a charcoal stove to add depth to the dishes. The mild red curry with grilled pork and damask rose looks simple, but the authentic taste of homemade Thai curry paste hides inside. The sliced pork is tender and the curry texture is smooth with a rich but balanced flavor, end quote. So first, the non-food essentials. This is one of only two places I had trouble getting a reservation in Chiang Mai, and you do need a reservation. They're very popular, and there are only 4 to 6 tables. They're also dinner only and closed on Tuesdays. My messages on Facebook and Instagram went ignored, so I showed up right when they opened at 5 p.m. on Monday, which I guessed would be their least busy night, and the chef himself was kind enough to squeeze me in if I wanted to eat at the bar at 8 p.m. The bar is not a bar. It's a tiny counter in the back where they make drinks and bring up the receipts that can accommodate an absolute max of 3 diners. It was fine for me and I don't regret it. The ambiance here is high-end, dimmed lights, fabric napkins, etc. The service is personal. It's the chef, his wife, and I think just 1 or maybe 2 waiters. The kitchen is open so you can see them making your food and everyone else's. It became clear to me, reading all the Michelin synopses, that the inspector in Chiang Mai is a pork person. Pork is the dish recommended at almost every restaurant. I'm not a pork person. I normally order whatever the guide suggests because isn't that the whole point? But I just really didn't feel like pork, so I got 2 dishes from the special menu. First, the beef and spicy Thai herbs broth soup, and also the selected fish and aromatic white curry with smoked chili on top, and vegetables from the seasonal menu, the so-called wok-fried seasonal organic green leaf. The chef surprised me by admitting to me openly that he had toned down the heat in my dishes, having profiled me as a middle-aged white lady, which I find incredibly disappointing, but is extremely common. I would even say the norm in Thailand. The tender beef shank in the spicy Thai herb broth was one of the dishes that was apparently toned down for me considerably. You can choose between tongue and shank, and though the tongue is recommended, I just don't love it, so I went with shank. It's that classic northern Thai spicy tomato soup base, which I don't always love. I find sometimes it's too strong on the tomato, but this was really perfect. The best example of it I've come across. And of course, the beef was perfect, perfectly tender. I wouldn't describe this recipe as elevated in any way, but it is just exactly what it should be. The veggies were just cabbage and some sort of oyster sauce mix. Based on the menu description, I was expecting something else or more. This is the dish that won them the top spot, the selected fish and aromatic white curry with smoked chili on top. I'm not sure what kind of fish this was. I believe it's plakapong or snapper, also sold as Asian sea bass, very popular in Thailand. It was firm, white, flaky, tasty, but the white curry was amazing. It incorporated ma kwan, which is a seasonal wild peppercorn from northern Thailand. rather similar to Szechuan pepper, but with a citrus aroma. This was incredible. If you're the kind of person from the northeast of the US who grew up loving chowders, you will get it. Out of curiosity, I took a shot of one of their locally produced in Chiang Mai rice and sugarcane spirits from a company I've never heard of called Pie Craft. Honestly, I could take it or leave it. I recommended to the manager that instead of just serving this in shots, which, the liquor is frankly not complex enough to warrant, they should be making Northern Thai branded cocktails. Anyway, best meal I had in Chiang Mai, would absolutely go back. To number 2 on my list. So, in my opinion, the second best restaurant in all of Chiang Mai is Ekachan. According to Michelin, quote, "This new restaurant in the heart of old Chiang Mai is run by a local chef who embraces the slow food concept, using ingredients from around the country. The fried rice with sweet shrimp is nicely cooked with sweet shrimp paste and tasty condiments, including fresh chili, shallots, and mango. The spicy beef turmeric curry is a standout with an intense mix of herbs and spices. If you're looking for the spice bomb, they can add fresh Thai chilies," end quote. So, first, the non food elements. I called on a Sunday evening around 5 p.m. to make a reservation for the same night and was told they could fit me in at 8 o'clock and gave my name. So, I was disappointed when I arrived and they had a pile of reservations, but not mine. Fortunately, I only waited around 20 minutes to be seated. I did get the impression that they just don't bother making reservations for parties of one. When you show up, they'll just make you wait until they can squeeze you in, and that does not impress. Like toning down spicy food without asking, refusing reservations for solo diners is an unfortunate norm in Thailand. The setting is kind of interesting. The restaurant is in the lower floor of the Chiang Mai Ancient House, also known as the Lana Ancient House, built in 1867. It's the oldest of the Charoen Pratet Road heritage houses. Of course, it has been altered extensively. This is a commercial renovation, not a historic restoration. I guess the bones are still there and it's still beautiful. The house used to belong to grandmother Mong Kam Swai Swan, a Burmese logging contractor millionaire. Today it's owned by a subsidiary of Thai Charoen Corporation, TTC, whose profitable arm is Thai Bev, the producer of Chang beer. They originally promised to faithfully restore this ancient house and use it for cultural events, but that didn't exactly happen. Similarly, the garden is completely gone. It's all just parking, and they stacked a bunch of modern buildings in there. So at present, there are a bunch of empty and underutilized retail spaces for no reason. Ah, Lasai. The tree overlooking the spirit house is still there. It's an Indian walnut said to be over 100 years old. The atmosphere here is casual, shorts and shirts is fine, services quick and friendly. So here it is, the Kang Wang. Exact English translation, curry with paranoia. It's that spicy. Apparently, rawang is a traditional food that everyone cooks in the north, something like a Sunday roast, where everybody kind of knows how to do it, but some people's are exponentially better than others. This beef was tender and tasty, and the curry was fantastic. It's up there in the top 3 best dishes I had in 3 months in Chiang Mai. I could list out all the spices and herbs typically used in the recipe: Thai, basil, lemongrass, dill, galangal, fresh red chili, etc. But the magic obviously happens in the blend, the balance, and the reduction. I'd eat at this restaurant again for this dish alone. Of course, I tried the recommended fried rice with shrimp paste and sweet shrimp as well. The pomelo, chili, onions, and cilantro are meant to be mixed into the rice. This was one of the best fried rices I've ever had. I didn't taste any strong shrimp paste or fermented fish sauce, any flavor like that. I really didn't taste anything like that, but the rice tasted amazing. The quote unquote sweet shrimp are quite different from anything I've had before. They're a medium size, half dried, and dressed in something that does indeed make them literally sugary sweet. You eat the whole thing, shell on, head and tail. They're not exactly crunchy, maybe something between crunchy and chewy. Wouldn't seek out again, but definitely didn't mind. I always try to drink local with my meal as well. Obviously, wine pairings aren't a thing in Thailand. So I end up with all different stuff. For this meal, I had a bunch of Chiang Mai beers. Apparently, Chiang Mai beer was founded by two Chiang Mai bros, rich kids who attended undergrad together in the US and got inspired at the 2010 Great American Beer Festival. It's no longer home brewed, it's made by Beer Savant in Laos, same company that produces Beer Lao, and distributed throughout Thailand. The Summer Sky Orange IPA is what I would call a dessert beer, a relatively cheap imitation of the lambic I was raised with. It's still superior to the many overpoweringly sweet, cheap, one-note mass-produced beers you can buy in 7-Elevens throughout Southeast Asia. But at this point, craft beer is an exaggeration for what Chiang Mai beer really is. I also had the Blossom Weizen. This was better and apparently remains closer to one of their original homebrewed recipes. Since discovering them here, I've bought a bunch of different Chiang Mai beers at the higher end supermarkets. My favorite is this, the Winter Night Cacao Stout. All in all, love Ekachan. I hope someday I have the chance to go back and try more of their food. Number 3, Huen Muan Jai. Exact English translation, lustful like the heart. Maybe heart's desire? According to Michelin, quote, headed up by former TV chef Charan Tipong, this restaurant, whose name means happy home, has been serving authentic Northern Thai food since 2011. Set in a Lana house with a tree-lined garden, it's a popular, wallet-friendly destination that offers hard-to-find traditional dishes alongside classic favorites. The uniquely flavored spicy minced fish salad is highly recommended, and if you're unfamiliar with the cuisine, start with the excellent Northern appetizer sampler, end quote. So as usual, the non-food essentials first. I found footage of the chef on, I believe, Iron Chef Thailand, but none with English subtitles. Your mileage may vary. At lunchtime on Saturday, this place was crowded with locals. Always a good sign. I'm pretty sure I just got lucky because lunch service begins at 11 a.m. and I was there at 10:57 and was the second party seated. When I left, there were tons of people waiting, and it's a very casual place, lots of outdoor seating. Service isn't slow, but you do have to flag down servers because it gets very busy. There's also little to no English here. Prices are low compared to comparable restaurants, and I'm sure that's another reason it's very popular. Now, the food. The menu focuses on Lana specialties, so many exotic options to my eyes. I liked everything I ate, and they definitely did not change the spice level or flavors for me, which I truly appreciate. I'm familiar with the Northern Thai appetizer sampler, so I skipped that, but I did go with the recommendation for Lad Pla Kwa, spicy minced freshwater fish salad. It was excellent. Fresh, spicy, the perfect dryness level and chew. And of course, I wrapped it in cabbage with some mint. I have had so many types of lab throughout Northern Thailand and Laos. And honestly, to be honest, sorry, I've disliked almost all of them. It's just not my favorite dish. So it was wonderful to try one. I truly, genuinely, really liked. I also ordered the Tam Kan Noon spicy pounded raw jackfruit mash that you eat spread on fried pork rinds. This was an incredibly satisfying snack food. It had such nuanced flavor. I would come back just to have this and a beer with a friend. I liked it so much, I had it packed up in a plastic bag to go, and I bought a bag of their pork rinds at the restaurant so I could eat it again for lunch the next day. As I'm sure you know, mushrooms of all varieties are a staple in Northern Thai cuisine and Lana cooking specifically. So I asked the waiter to recommend their absolute best mushroom dish and was quite surprised when he recommended the Namtrika Hednang Phanong, spicy galangal dip with steamed mushrooms. king oyster mushrooms, to be specific. I love mushrooms, and maybe one of the only kinds of mushrooms I don't really love is oyster mushrooms. Whenever I've bought them at the market, they've had a strongly unappealing scent to me. But the server was right. These were completely clean and fresh, and the galangal was so refreshing. Spicy, certainly, but it had a deeper flavor than that. So lovely. Finally, I had the tom yum gob, spicy soup with frog. The flavor of this was unbelievable. Not just hot, but complex. I almost finished this soup. I'd never been served frog with the skin on before, which initially I found a bit disconcerting, but I just went for it. And the skin was tasteless, not a problem. The body and possibly the heads of, I think, 2 smaller frogs were used in this soup rather than only the legs of larger frogs, which is the French custom I'm more used to. One of the cooks served this to me personally. I wonder if all the servers were busy or if they just like to get the measure of weirdo foreigners who order the crazy stuff. As for beverages, I believe they serve only juice, sodas, and beer in the giant size glass bottles. I think if tourists wish to try Lana food at a really high level, this is the spot. I truly can't recommend highly enough. Huan Soontaree was my first experience of Lana cuisine, and it set a high standard. According to Michelin, Soontaree Vechanon doesn't just own Soontaree's house, the singer also performs here nightly. Set on the Ping River in an open air Lana style building with more tables outside, this charming restaurant can accommodate up to 350 guests. Among the northern Thai cooking they serve is their signature boneless merle fish stuffed with pork. It's a creative dish with the well-seasoned sausage proving suitably fragrant and spicy. As usual, let's cover the non-food elements first. Tucked on the riverside in a residential neighborhood about a 15-minute drive north of the old city, the place doesn't, in my opinion, get nearly as much business as it deserves because it's rather out of the way and has been open way too long to hold any novelty for locals, about 20 years now, maybe more. First, the ambiance is the best in Chiang Mai. No contest. The main building is an extra large version of a traditional Lana wooden house, decked with lanterns and vintage photos. All seating is open air, private parties can sit in an upstairs gallery, and you can sit farther away from the building next to the river, but most patrons prefer to be closer to the band because iconic Thai folk singer of the 70s and 80s, Soontaree Vechanon, is the owner and namesake here, and she does a 40 or 50-minute set in full traditional Lana costume with full band most nights of the week starting around 7 p.m. Her daughter, Lana Comens, herself a millennial pop sensation, also performs. Even if the food was mediocre or bad, coming here to hear them sing would be worth it. They are wonderful. Their band is wonderful. They've clearly been together a long time and perfected their performance. The whole experience is such a classy, old-fashioned contrast to the irritating EDM and top 10 soundtracks or vaguely classical piano music common to so many restaurants in Thailand. Because it is outdoors, however, I would recommend bringing along a mosquito racket or two. And sorry, but it's true. I would characterize the service as lazy. Because the decor is so romantic, it is great for a small party. It is great for a date, but the live music makes it particularly appealing for a solo diner. As for the food is good. It's great. It's just like the music, actually. Local, classic, top quality. I briefly considered the fish, but it looked giant, and it being my first meal in the north, I wanted to get a lot of variety fast and try a dish that seems to be served in pretty much every restaurant, a northern Thai mixed platter. Soontaree does call this one of their 4 signature dishes, so I assumed this one was put together at a pretty high level. The reddish dip is nam prekong, given the cutesy translation Chiang Mai Bolognese on Soontaree's menu. It's certainly elementally similar, with ground pork, tomatoes, garlic, red onion, and cilantro as the base. Its northern Thai-ness comes from the multiple types of chilies and shrimp, tamarind, and fermented soybean pastes. It's salty, sweet, and a bit hot. The greenish dip is nam prik num, charcoal grilled local green chilies mashed with shallots, garlic, green onion, salt, and the lightest touch of shrimp paste for a smoky veggie taste. FYI, nam prik means dip or relish, usually prepared with chilies and shrimp paste. These are on almost every menu in Chiang Mai, and one thing I love about Soontarees is that the recipes haven't changed since the place opened in the 90s, and they were local standards back then. They're not trying to do any kind of modern fusion, royal, backwoods, exotic, etc. There's zero concept here. The menu is more or less what a rich Northern Thai family would be proud to serve if they were throwing a big fancy birthday party in 1979, and I love that. In the center are pork rinds or kep mu, the most common thing to dip in the various Northern Thai dips, along with vegetables. Here we have pumpkin, carrots, broccoli, and tiny little onions. Next to the veggies is sai wa, an iconic Northern Thai style sausage composed of ground pork mixed with kaffir lime leaves and a curry paste featuring dried chilies, cumin, galangal, turmeric, lemongrass, coriander, shrimp paste, fish sauce, shallots, and garlic, smoked over coconut wood. In my experience, the sai wa in Chiang Mai generally has less kick than it does in Laos, especially around Luang Prabang, but it's still very tasty. Also, I wasn't specifically seeking out and testing every granny-made sai wa in town. This was pretty good, and I'm sure there are many that are absolutely mind-blowing for sausage enthusiasts. Next is deep-fried mu ya, or Vietnamese white pork roll. It's pork pounded into a paste, then mixed with potato starch and fish sauce, and tiny little bits of pig ear and pork fat for texture. Then wrapped in a banana leaf and boiled. For me, this is filler food. I don't especially like it, and Soontarees didn't change my mind. Finally, there is Jin som, which is made by mixing minced pork with a bit of pork rinds, garlic, salt, and steamed sticky rice, wrapping twice in banana leaves to make an airless environment, and leaving to ferment for 3 days. I've tried it several times in Thailand and Laos. It is not for me, and I barely ever touch it. As with the mu ya, theirs didn't convert me, and not being a fan to begin with, I can't really say, certainly not fairly, if it was good or not. I also tried the head tub puffball mountain mushrooms cooked with acacia in a creamy curry. I love mushrooms. Different kinds of mushrooms figure heavily in Lana cuisine, and these mushrooms specifically are a prized ingredient throughout northern Thailand because they are rare. Only grow for around 2 months during the rainy season, usually May and June, don't bloom every year, and are hard to find. Additionally, most are exported to wealthier countries. They are so desirable and sell for such high prices, 500-600 baht for a small tin, that villagers burn forests just to collect them, contributing substantially to the awful air quality in Chiang Mai. I did not know that when I ordered this dish. I also didn't know that while head tub are considered too difficult to cultivate, they are now brined and sold year-round. Given that I ate this meal in November, I couldn't have possibly had the fresh seasonal delicacy, famous for its distinct earthy flavor. I likely had the second best preserved type. I have serious asthma. Smoke of any kind is my literal mortal enemy, and had I known, I would never have ordered these. Yes, they were good. I liked the juiciness and novelty of the popping. They call these popping mushrooms because when you bite into them, they pop and the juice comes out. That said, the flavor is not incredibly special, and even if it were, absolutely nothing is tasty enough to warrant setting forest fires. So I find myself in the position of liking this dish quite a lot, but also not being able to recommend it. I'm putting it down to living and learning. You've been warned. I would certainly go back to Soontarees and eat other things. In the end, Soontarees is a Chiang Mai institution and a must visit. Number 5, Tune In Garden. I debated with myself at length whether or not to place Tune In Garden so high on this list because, to be frank, the food here is besides the point. According to Michelin, this restaurant is owned by the late national artist of Thailand and his wife. She cooks delicious home-style fare drawn from a cookbook she wrote based on her mother-in-law's recipes. First-timers are served a fixed-price menu. Returners can order from the cookbook. Roasted pork ribs with cabbage and fermented pork with fermented bean curd relish stand out. Booking is required. So, as usual, the non-food elements. First, it's an unchanging set menu for 600 baht. They only open for lunch. They don't speak English, so you have to have someone Thai call and book for you, and they require at least 24 hours advance notice. This place is very clearly not on the Michelin list for its food, but for its atmosphere. Getting there requires an hour-long drive through beautiful countryside, dotted with picturesque farms and tiny villages, up and up and up into the mountains. It was so charming, I had my driver stop a few times so I could take photos. He was happy to do so, having been paid $40 for 8 hours work. There's no other transportation option to get there, unless you feel confident on a motorbike in unfamiliar steep mountains. No Grab driver will make a one-time trip, and if one did in some unfathomably improbable personal circumstance, you would never find another to take you back. If, like me, you will not ride a motorbike out there, plan in advance how to make use of the remaining 5 or 5.5 hours you have access to a private driver after you've eaten. I combined it with visits to a couple mountain temples that also require hiring a private driver for the day, and ended with a trip to the mall. The restaurant itself is actually a private home, once the home of famous Thai author Rong Wangsabun, who published over 100 books and hundreds more newspaper columns, but is best known to Americans, if he's known to us at all, as the man from Bangkok, who documented life in hippie-era San Francisco through foreign eyes, most memorably in his 1969 novel, Lost in the Smell of Marijuana. Today, his widow, her servant, their many adorable Jack Russell Terriers, and occasionally his son and daughter-in-law live here and seem to run the restaurant less as a true business venture than for a bit of cash here and there. The house overlooks a small waterfall and river and is not at all wheelchair or disabled friendly. There are probably 100 steps down to the house from the road, and they're not particularly easy even for those with no mobility issues. The forest and waterfall are beautiful, they look and sound amazing, and they make the trip out here completely worth it. Perfect to celebrate a special day in a calm way. I also fell in love with Charlie, the feisty, flea-ridden patriarch of the Jack Russells, though there are also a couple cats for you cat people. I spent at least 20 minutes wandering the garden and taking photos once I was done eating. I'm recommending this place for the experience, not the food. Yet Michelin is supposed to be about the food, so let's talk about it, I guess. The food, supposedly made from 100-year-old family recipes, was uniformly bland and sweet. It's not local cuisine. This family retired to Chiang Mai 25 years ago, but are originally from Bangkok, and the cooking is in the Central Thai or Siam style. I learned this from my Grab driver who ate, I would say, 2/3 of the food. It really didn't appeal to me. And the people at my hotel who identified the food from the photos I took. Tune In provided no menu and no explanation. Pretty soon after arrival, I was served a refreshing cup of longan juice and Three Musketeers, a little appetizer that was very trendy in Thailand in the 60s. The meat is the Three Musketeers, minced shrimp, pork, and chicken, combined with ground peanuts, stir-fried in a sweet sauce, and typically it's served over tangerines, but can be served over any sour sliced fruit. I love this, very refreshing. The further 5 dishes were all served at the same time with rice. First up, pork chops and cabbage in a sweet tomato base. That's really all there is to say. It was okay, it was sweet. Fish maw soup, not terribly different from the pork chops, to be honest. River catfish, fried way too hard. tasted like the oil was a bit old. Nam prik lom pu, or crab paste chili dip made with coconut milk. This in particular was such a disappointment because I love crab. I love chili. I love coconut milk. I love crudité, but I really didn't like this. It just tasted off, sour, unbalanced. It's a no. Watermelon with brown sugar, dried shrimp, and fried onions. Hard to believe anybody could get this wrong, but it actually needed a bit of salt. There were a couple dipping sauces served alongside. Overall, just such a disappointment. For dessert, they served sticky rice and corn in sweetened coconut milk, bog standard. Yeah. If you're craving a beautiful drive in the countryside and a secluded romantic meal, this is a great place. If you're looking for good food, no. Number 6, Saiyut and Dr. Sai Kitchen. According to Michelin, since 2004, Dr. Sai has been serving pan Thai dishes, including royal fare, following recipes from her mother, Saiyut, a former cooking instructor, in a setting reminiscent of dining at home. Start with an elegant appetizer like fried prawns and peanuts in an egg net, flour dumplings, or deep fried pork wrapped in egg noodles. By dessert, try the sweet potato and syrup. You'll guess this home, with its warm service, belongs to a royal from a bygone era. As usual, the non-food elements first. Like Tunin Garden, Saiyut and Dr. Sai ranks so high for aesthetic reasons, not for the food. The restaurant specializes in decorative, beautifully presented food that tastes good enough. All the veggies and fruit come carved. Many of the dumplings and desserts come molded into birds or flowers. Every money bag or egg net really is the smallest, cutest, most darling version of the thing. And everything is plated nicely on classic feeling celadon or blue and white dishes. It's undeniably the prettiest food in town, and lots of tourists and students seem to go there just to post on social media. It's a novelty I think most people would enjoy, and it has some redeeming qualities. For example, they sell a large variety of takeaway box lunches for 150 baht each. That's a great deal for the quality of the food if you live nearby. The appetizers and desserts are perfect for entertaining or bringing as a hostess gift. It would have perfect girls' brunch or date vibes, except that no alcohol is served. Many Chiang Mai restaurants have this policy because they can minimize turnover time while maximizing profit margins on cheap iced sugar water drinks. And frankly, I find it tiresome. This place makes a big show of being very booked and busy and recommending reservations, but both times I showed up for lunch without a reservation, including on a Saturday, they were able to seat me immediately in a half-empty second dining room. Similarly, they don't list prices for the meal sets, which is bad enough, but then substitute out various dishes with less popular ones and charge each as line items until they hit 1,000 baht. So neither providing the meal set nor providing a deal for ordering a meal set. Instead, sneakily overcharging tourists for the less popular, perhaps inferior food. It's a bit distasteful, pun intended. In Thailand, cachet is given to exclusivity to a degree that I think it no longer is where I come from. Therefore, there's a lot of feigned exclusivity, particularly in places like Chiang Mai, where there's a lot of competition for Chinese and European tourists. This place has those vibes. Now the food. I mentioned before that I visited twice, simply because it was close to my hotel. The first time the waitress asked if I liked spicy food, and I said my usual yes, I very much like spicy food. Please don't water anything down for me. That first trip, the food was not all great, but spice level was not an issue. The second time I visited, I did not have that conversation with a waitress. No one asked. And I was served the plainest, sweetest food I've had in a long time. At first, I assumed I'd been racially profiled as a middle-aged white lady, which I've already mentioned has unfortunately occurred umpteen times throughout Southeast Asia. However, all the northern Thais I queried about it told me that Thais from the central regions generally prefer much sweeter food than those in the north or south, and this menu is marketed as Royal Siam style food. That said, I've lived and traveled Thailand on and off for a few years at this point, including living in Bangkok for extended periods, and I've tried genuine, sophisticated Royal Siam cuisine. The key is subtlety, not sugar. Saiyut's recipes might reflect a northerner's impression of Siamese cuisine rather more than they represent the real thing. Anyway, let's talk about the food. For drinks, I had lemon juice. It was oversweet. I also tried the butterfly pea ice with lime and soda. It was honestly not very different, also artificial and oversweet. The appetizer served with every meal is carved green papaya with spicy sweet shrimp sauce. It is refreshing and nice. This is the star of the show. This is what everyone orders to take pictures with, the very beautiful and photogenic appetizer platter. Starting at the top left corner, going clockwise, first we have the deep fried pork wrapped with egg noodles, then the Three Musketeers on green papaya, dried shrimp with herbs wrapped in wild betel leaf, fried shrimp and pork with coconut wrapped in an egg net, fried shrimp with coconut, peanut, bean curd, and bean sprout in pastry shell, fried shrimp and pork with corn and pastry shell, bird-shaped Three Musketeer dumpling, flower-shaped pork dumpling, steam puff with fish filling, and finally, deep-fried prawns and pork wrapped in a spring roll, the money bag. They were all tasty, but in rather the same way, sweet with some crunch, or no crunch. Some of the fillings were repeated, some more than once. They were served with 3 different dipping sauces, but even the sauce with lots of chilies was extremely sweet. But the prettiness of this dish is honestly why it ranks so high. People just love taking pictures of it. Next up, the spicy pomelo salad with both fresh and dried prawns, minced pork, and eggs poached hard. This was absolutely delicious. Deep fried curried mousse made with mixed prawns, pork, and fish. It's pretty difficult to mess up anything deep fried, and these were not bad, but the flavors were just okay for me, and the texture was spongy and bouncy. So I understand why other people might like it. I did not. Tom yum spicy clear soup with prawns. This was quite spicy with a great balance of flavors. It's possibly the best tom yum I've ever had. It was hands down the best thing at this restaurant, maybe a little ironic because it's such a simple classic dish. The deep fried sand whiting with crispy turmeric. This type of fish was suggested to me by the waitress in lieu of a bigger, better one shown in the set meal photos. I now wonder if it was just to get rid of it because I'd never tried this type of fish before and it was way too scrawny, dry, and tasteless for me. The stir-fried crab meat with yellow curry powder. This was the worst dish I had here. Such a disappointment, especially, coming from places like Penang, where they do stuff like this excellently. It was canned crab meat with literally no seasoning, atop scrambled eggs and baby corn with yellow curry powder that had no spice. It was shockingly bland, literally no warmth, even with the chilies. I don't think I've ever tasted a curry with absolutely zero spice before. But in northern Thailand, sometimes yellow curry, they can manage to make it with no spice. I don't know if they're doing that just for me. This was not good. Stir-fried chili paste, betel leaves, and crab meat curry. This is one of my favorite Thai dishes at other restaurants. The flavors here were way off, bitter even. I found myself just picking out the crab meat, another disappointment. For desserts, I tried the coconut sticky rice with banana and black beans steamed in a banana leaf. This was perfect, pretty. Apparently, this restaurant is well known for its traditional Thai desserts. And I also tried the salaka or snake fruit in syrup. I just wanted to have a local fruit, but I'm not convinced this was not canned. I don't think this was fresh. They did pack up my leftovers to go very nicely, which I appreciated. Yep, if you're doing it for the gram, of course. If you're ordering a set meal for lunch because you want to try local food every day, sure, give it a shot. Go out of your way, wait in line. No, no, no. Number 7, Khao Soi Mae Sai. This is a classic shophouse restaurant with cheap and chill vibes. It's been said of Southeast Asian street food that if you go to any place with more than two things on the menu, you're doing it wrong. According to Michelin, this shop serves the famous khao soi, featuring rich and slightly spicy curry notes. You can choose your preferred meat toppings, and the portions are so delicate that you might find yourself wanting another round. First, as usual, the non food elements. This place is a really good deal. 80 baht, or around $2.37 US, for a drink and a bowl of noodles with a chicken drumstick is cheap. If I lived here, I'd be a regular, and apparently they're extremely popular, even trendy. I didn't have a problem getting a table on a Saturday, but that's probably because I went at 9 a.m. If you're not familiar with khao soi, it is comfort food, as close to fast food as Thailand had before actual fast food franchises arrived. Northern Thai khao soi, or khao soi Islam, is a noodle soup dish made with hand cut boiled egg noodles. And you can see the proprietor pulling his noodles in their cooking area here. Pickled mustard greens, shallots, lime, ground chilies fried in oil, and chicken or beef in a curry like sauce containing coconut milk, topped with deep fried egg noodles. Its predecessor was likely a noodle dish that made its way to the region from Myanmar via the Chin Ha, a group of Thai Chinese Muslims from Yunnan who traded along caravan routes through Shan State in Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand from the 18th to early 20th centuries. But back to Mae Sai, this restaurant specifically, I'd say they were my second favorite khao soi place in Chiang Mai. My favorite place did not make it onto Michelin's Bib Gourmand list. I'll talk about it in a different video, the also rans video. I tried the chicken khao soi, the Kanom Jeen, and I had a Thai milk tea. The chicken drumstick khao soi was excellent. Excellent. I get very weird about chicken skin. I don't want anything rubbery, stretchy, or textured. I don't want to see or feel the fat membrane just underneath the skin. I had no problem with this. The chicken was tender, flavorful, clearly properly slow cooked. The curry had a great flavor. I think I would have preferred a bit spicier, but a couple chili-based sauces are among the condiments. The egg noodles had the perfect chew, and the deep fried noodles, the perfect crunch. It was near perfect. The Kanom Jeen Nam Nyao. Supposedly, this dish is a northern signature, and how well a restaurant does it indicates the quality of the restaurant. Tomato, cilantro, and chili are not always my favorite flavors, but they seem to be a classic combo for soup bases in northern Thailand. Likewise, I'm not a pork person, so this kind of thing can be hard for me to enjoy, but I thought I'd give it a try. The pork blood cubes were very smooth. The minced pork, not particularly interesting, but inoffensive. And the noodles tasted cheap, honestly, in my opinion. It was definitely edible. If I was in a podunk and this was literally all they served, I would eat it, but it's not something I would go back for. I think that's the dish and my personal taste, not the restaurant. I'd absolutely go back to Mae Sai for the chicken drumstick, khao soi, and Thai tea. Number 8, Busarin. The little sister of Magnolia next door, Busarin is a lunch-only place focusing on Thai comfort foods. According to Michelin, Busarin, the new sister restaurant of Magnolia Café, has high ceilings, a collection of chinaware, and leather green sofa booths that contrast with the light pink walls. When you dine here, it's like being welcomed into Chef Noi's home. They serve northern Thai based on family recipes with noodles and roti instead of rice. The standout is a streaky pork that's braised in a hung lei curry for 2 days and emits a powerful aroma of ginger and spices. First, the non-food essentials. It is cute and quiet. I was the only person there. It's much higher priced than other local restaurants selling similar dishes, and that's why I think the place is empty. The waitress spoke English sufficiently well to talk to me about what the chef liked to make and the dishes she preferred and recommended. The menu is very limited, so I just ate what the waitress recommended. Of course, adhering to my values of eating the most iconic local dish possible within my tolerance for experimenting with foods I know I probably won't like. So first up, Thai pla kati, Southern style fish curry with bamboo shoots and bitter beans. The waitress warned me it would smell bad and the beans would taste bad, but it's a popular local food. I must admit, my first thought upon smelling it was cat food curry. It was not good to me at all. It must be great for other people with other palates. All I have to say about this dish is YOLO. It was served with fermented rice noodles. I thought fermented rice noodles were something else, something I haven't had. I've definitely eaten these a million times, and they're nothing special. However, I always make the effort to finish veggies. I think eating out exclusively, I don't get enough veg, so I did that. Next, I also tried the beef hung lei with roti and cucumber salad. I told the waitress I wanted to try the hung lei, but I didn't really love pork, and I had already had a bunch of pork hung leis that I wasn't crazy about. She claimed she also preferred the beef version here, and it was much, much better for me, though I still had to trim off spongy excess fat, which I do not eat. The curry was good, great even, but there wasn't enough of it for me. Even when I look at pictures of what I was served versus the picture of the meal on the menu, I think, where is the stew? I do now know that I like the warm, sweet hung lei concept. It's just the pork that I don't always love. The roti. So simple, but we must talk about the roti. These were the most perfect roti I've ever had. Literally. I've traveled extensively in India, in Malaysia, and these were the best roti. Perfect. The spicy cucumber salad was also good, simple, refreshing. If I were in the neighborhood, I'd definitely stop here for a curry with roti. Not sure if I would go out of my way. Number 9, Magnolia. Magnolia ranks right next to Busarin, probably because it's practically the same restaurant, same owner, same cooks, same staff, lots of menu overlap, doubtless with the same recipes. There's just a bigger, more diverse, more expensive menu for dinner. According to Michelin, with just 4 large communal tables, Magnolia is a simple, cozy spot enlivened by bold colors, vintage decor, and chandeliers. Their a la carte menu offers tasty, well-presented fare from across Thailand. Dishes are distinguished by vivid, gutsy flavors. Fried sun-dried squid with peanut sauce and fresh watermelon with desiccated salmon are exemplars. In lieu of a dessert menu, they serve lovely, complimentary pandan pudding. Do visit their wine shop next door. Perhaps an inspector hasn't visited Magnolia recently because it's no longer communal tables. Arriving at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, I was the only diner here for my entire meal. I didn't even see anyone else coming or going. I was at one of 4, I believe, tables for 2. There was a table for 10 and another for 6, all empty. My impression is that this place was trendy at one time but has lost its luster. I describe it as relatively, by local standards, expensive and mid. The concept is a light, sophisticated twist on Northern Thai cuisine, but the menu just seemed confused. A little Northern home cooking, a little Southern flash, some random seafood, even though Chiang Mai is inland in the mountains, some fruit. The amuse-bouche was cute, and the free pandan custard dessert was delicious, but they kind of don't make up for the 1,000 baht credit card minimum and only selling wine by the bottle. As per usual, I try to order the Michelin suggestions and something that appealed to me personally. I can recognize objectively that much of the food was rather good, yet there was not a single dish I liked enough to return for. The amuse-bouche was a little cube of pineapple and a little sugar plum. I tried the watermelon with desiccated salmon. Apparently, this is their most popular dish. It was refreshing, of course, but a whole lot of nothing as far as flavor. The hormok, or steamed curried barracuda terrine, on the other hand, was great. It was the best dish I tried at this restaurant. I have tried hormok multiple times throughout Thailand and Laos and have always been repulsed by the flavor. Cambodia is the only place amok is consistently good. Maybe the curry powder made all the difference in this recipe. I do recommend this. The fried road squid with peanut sauce. I could recognize the squid was done incredibly well, elegantly even, but I've only actually enjoyed squid once in my life. Literally once, one time, at Na Hang Xin Chau in Phu Quoc, Vietnam. Xin Chau's actually did have the eggs still attached. Magnolia's, based on the name, I think was supposed to, but didn't. The center was cooked through at Xin Chau rather than left a jelly texture at Magnolia's. I personally prefer it cooked through. And finally, I don't recall the squid at Xin Chau having any ammoniac scent, which Magnolia's really suffered from. I could see other people who love squid really enjoying this. For me personally, it was a swing and a miss. The Hornung slow-cooked chicken with northern herbs, in terms of flavor, was my favorite. It seems to be a more traditional northern home-style recipe, so more in Magnolia and Busarin's wheelhouse. There was a sort of quality control issue with the chicken, though. I repeatedly had to spit out bits of gristle into my napkin. I recognize this sort of thing is common throughout Asia, but in a relatively more upscale place, I certainly wasn't expecting it. Finally, the pandan custard. Truly unexpectedly delicious, and I've had a million pandan desserts. If they sold this by the cup, I'd certainly pay for it and take, I don't know, 6 of them home. If you haven't noticed, we've entered the no need to bother half of this rank list. Coming in at number 10, Krua Long Khao. According to Michelin, food and atmosphere are well matched at this chill northern Thai restaurant in Mae Rim. It's in a 2-story wooden pavilion with regular tables downstairs and cushioned floor seating upstairs. Both options offer relaxing rice field views and refreshing breezes. The food here is equally fresh, as well as flavorful and easy on the wallet. The Northern Thai spicy pork salad and the Northern Thai hot and spicy soup with fish and morning glory are recommended. First, as usual, the non-food elements. This place is far flung enough from the old city that I'm only willing to go at lunchtime to ensure I don't get stuck in the country in the dark. The setting is super casual. It's all outdoor seating. There's a view of a lovely rice paddy next door. The chef is a celebrity chef in Thailand who's been on various TV shows. The menu helpfully has a Michelin selections page and an Iron Chef page. When I was there, I tried the Iron Chef menu and was a bit disappointed, realizing it was just 3 different fried and asides. But perhaps that was the assignment on the show? I planned on going back for the Michelin menu, but ended up not being able to find the time to do so, which is frankly possibly unfair to the cook and the restaurant. Maybe this place should be ranking higher. On the other hand, by the time I made it out here, I felt like if I ate another spicy pork salad and spicy fish soup as recommended by the Michelin inspector, I was going to fucking die. I recognize these are pillars of local cuisine and clearly dishes the inspector enjoys eating, but for fuck's sake, stop recommending the same 3 fucking dishes everywhere. Anyway, next time I'm in Chiang Mai, I do plan on going back and trying them and giving this place a more fair shake and ordering other things and updating this video. So maybe this whole section will be edited out. This is the only wild card in my list. The first thing I ate from the Iron Chef menu was deep fried stuffed chang da, which is a local leafy vegetable, with minced chicken. Chang da is similar to spinach, perhaps, but with a bright, fresh green taste, not at all metallic. It's native to northern Thailand and also known as pak chang da, pak muan kai, and pak sing. You're supposed to eat this if you have certain symptoms of inflammation, including constipation and hemorrhoids, joint and bone pain, allergies, and asthma. I thought this was light, crispy, delicious. I really, really enjoyed it. Loved this. Yet I was concerned about the pinkness of this chicken. What do you think? Is this an acceptable shade of pink? Next up, the deep fried pumpkin with red curry paste and northern style green mango spicy salad. The deep fried pumpkin was, of course, expectedly delicious. Light, crispy, made with reasonably fresh oil. The green mango salad was definitely northern style with a strong shrimp paste flavor reminiscent of what I had in Laos. In my opinion, it needed peanuts, it needed acid. Objectively not bad, but I honestly didn't like it much. Finally, the northern style stir-fried Hinley pork curry. Kanom are supposed to be sweet and salty, made with banana, eggs, flour, coated with mellow spices, fried, and topped with a bit of molasses. These tasted like cardboard. They tasted awful. And I presume were made with some amount of butterfly pea flour or taro or a combo to achieve this color. I even tried dunking them in coffee later in the evening and they were still hopeless. As for the pork hinley, I'm sure you get by now in this review that this is an iconic dish in northern Thailand generally and Chiang Mai specifically. It came to the area via Myanmar when Lana was a vassal state of Burma in the 1500s through the 1700s. It's meant to be slow cooked, spicy, sweet, and tangy, featuring masala curry, tamarind paste, yellow turmeric, cumin, coriander seed, makwam pepper, and santal when seasonally appropriate, pickled vegetables, usually garlic, shredded ginger, peanuts, ideally manifold additional well-balanced earthy spices. This pork hunglei was mildly spicy, sweet and sour, slightly oily, just made me feel like I needed to try it at 5 more restaurants because it was not what it was supposed to be. The flavors were okay, but it was very oversweet. The quality of the pork was not what I was looking for. I do not like the taste or texture of untrimmed fat on meat at all. So something like this has to be seasoned and braised to melt in your mouth perfection. For me to eat more than a couple bites, this was not. For dessert, I had lotus root in longan juice. There seems to be a girl with a semi-separate shop who only does the desserts. This tasted fresh and not oversweet. I really, really enjoyed it. Right, so I'll be back to give them a fair shake on the Michelin menu. Your mileage may vary. Number 11, Guay Jub Chang Moi Mai. I visited for breakfast on a weekday, and this old school shop house type restaurant was swarmed. Thankfully, the seating and service was quick and the place was clean. They have a few different kinds of only in Asia bottled juices to choose from: bell fruit, lemongrass, chrysanthemum, and tamarind. But I just drank water. Next door is a bakery selling all kinds of traditional sweets. According to Michelin, this place specializes in Guay Jub with Saiwa sausage, served in a unique peppery broth featuring crispy pork and pork liver. They also offer another delightful dish, fresh spring rolls topped with sliced omelet and aromatic sauce. The restaurant is in an alley that has a sort of vintage industrial atmosphere with small metalworking shops, wholesale shipping offices, and stuff like that all around. In the restaurant, there are 2 cooking stations, if you will, one for spring rolls and satay, the other for the soup bowls. The menu is very small here. Of course, I went with the Michelin recommendation and got a bowl of Guay Jub, which I've never had before. A Thai dish of Chinese origin, Guay Jub is rolled rice noodle soup that comes in 2 types: nam sai, a clear pork broth, and nam kon, a dark 5-spice soup. As crazy as it sounds, I'm not exactly sure which one this restaurant serves. On one hand, the broth was not half as dark as any photos of homemade Guay Jub nam kon I've seen. On the other, the flavors here were great. There was definitely a warm, earthy combination of mild spices happening, not just a pork broth. Perhaps this restaurant is notable because they're doing their own version halfway between the two. Chinese 5-spice is typically cinnamon, star anise, cloves, fennel, and Sichuan peppercorn, and is intended to lend all 5 flavors, sweet, bitter, salty, savory, and sour, to any dish. I think it was used in this broth, perhaps just not as intensely as in other recipes. The rolled noodles were a novelty, but obviously don't taste terribly different from any other rice noodle and don't have a chew or any other big textural difference either. Apparently, jub means 10 in some, I guess, Cantonese adjacent dialect, or perhaps just in a Thai accent. In Cantonese, it sounds more like sub. Anyway, traditionally there were 10 ingredients in the bowl. In my bowl, there was crispy pork belly, local minced pork sausage, stewed pork rib tips, tofu, and the rolled noodles, so just 5 things. And that was more than enough. Perhaps there's some option to order extras like innards, blood cubes, hard boiled eggs, etc. In the Michelin review, they mention liver. I don't think that was in my bowl unless it was at the bottom and I never got to it. So maybe a diner can get up to 10 ingredients here, but I didn't see extras and their prices posted anywhere or listed on the English menu anyway. Maybe the name of this dish is a vestigial organ at this point. LOL, I'm really butchering the dad puns today. Anyway, I really, really liked this, and I am not a pork person, we know, so whatever they're doing with just 5 ingredients is fine. It's working for me. Of course, I tried the spring rolls. Why not? They were really good. There was not much to them. It's rolled noodles, scrambled eggs, cucumbers, and crispy egg noodles in a sweet sauce. I would have preferred more veg. I was the only non local there, so I figured the price value ratio must be right. And I must say, this place was extremely clean and organized compared to most shophouse restaurants I've visited in various countries. Coming in at number 12, Lajam Wat. To quote Michelin, for decades, this place has been serving distinctive khao crab pak mo, or steamed rice skin dumplings, opposite wok kat karam. These contain a tasty, salty sweet filling wrapped in a coconut-infused rice flour sheet and a side of coconut cream. Tapioca balls with sweet pork are also offered. Kinda. The reason why khao krap pak ma and saku sai mu are almost always sold at the same stall is because the filling is the same or only very slightly different with different wrappings. The standard filling is minced pork, coriander roots, garlic, black pepper, peanuts, palm sugar, salt, oil, soy sauce, radish, and some spices depending on who's making it. If the seller wants to differentiate the khao krap pak ma from the saku sai mu, the saku sai mu will be pork only, and the khao krap pak ma will be a mix of minced pork and minced prawns, usually. Typically, you're given deep fried garlic and fresh chilies to sprinkle on the top, maybe some extra herbs or spices, and lettuce to wrap them in. This place, in my opinion, didn't give enough lettuce, but they did give a sweetened coconut milk to pour over the top, which is a little bit different. The price is unbeatable at 20 baht per box. You can eat there. They only really have a couple tables to prep stuff. If they're empty, they're empty. If they're doing something, you can't eat there. But they did offer. I went across the street to this really nice coffee shop called Kana Coffee Brewers. It's not cheap and you have to pay cash, but it is a totally legit coffee place. It's not sugary drinks with a scoop of powdered coffee somewhere in there. The beautiful smell hits you when you open the door. The atmosphere is extremely chill. A little carafe of ice drip coffee was 120 baht, so 3 times the price of the food. But you can sit upstairs and it's quiet and scenic, and they're used to people bringing their own food, so highly recommend. These were really tasty. They are a perfect afternoon snack or maybe small lunch, but they are just that, a one-note snack. I think it's odd and unfair to compare them to real restaurants like Huen Muan Jai, etc., by even putting them on the same list. Yeah, I'm gonna bitch about this some more in the Michelin gossip video. Tune in. I'd say if you happen to be in this neighborhood, which is easy because this is where a lot of the shopping is, for sure, come on in. However, the first time I tried to come here, they did close an hour early, so perhaps get there early. Speaking of places I wasted a lot of time, enthusiasm, and cab fare on trying to eat there when they were supposed to be open but were in fact closed, at unlucky number 13, we have Tue Kako Na Prince. I came here 3 or maybe even 4, I forget, times before I finally found them open. Whenever I came by and they were closed, they had a little sign posted that said, "Closed for 1 day." So I really didn't know what to think when I came back the next day and they were closed, and the day after that, and they were closed. I noticed that they're right across the street from a school, and I was arriving at or after lunchtime. I figured maybe once they sell out, they shut up shop, and perhaps between the school kids and the Michelin recommendation, I should try earlier in the morning or maybe on a weekend. On a Saturday, it was still a no go, so I finally showed up in the morning on a weekday and they were open. According to Michelin, this Tuekako or taro fritter place has been open for over 20 years opposite the Prince's Royal College, hence the name Tuekako na Prince. Savory and sweet, their version of the Chiang Mai snack is perfected, textured, and served with peanut sauce. Deep fried tofu is also sold. I guess Tuekako is a Chiang Mai origin snack. Almost all the places serve deep fried tofu alongside. Most fritters are plain, but some sellers put corn in theirs, others black beans, others you can choose, others peanuts. The standard topping is peanut sauce, others offer tamarind sauce, others offer sweet chili sauce. You get where I'm going with this. I'm assuming this place is the standard classic. They had tiny, tiny little bits of mu yaw in their fritters, which I was not expecting and honestly did not like, and served it with a sweet peanut garlic sauce. They also had a mini mart's worth of other dried snacks bagged up for sale. Obviously, the price is low. It's unbeatable. 5 pieces. You can mix and match taro and tofu for 20 baht. I could see how this would be extremely nostalgic for anybody who went to that school or lived in that neighborhood. For me, personally, just being honest, I liked a different Tue Kako place in Chiang Mai better, which I will discuss in my non-Michelin Chiang Mai Food Legends video. To me, this place is very much like Lajam Wat. Is it worth going to because they've been there a million years and you're sure to get the traditional original? Yes. If you've never had it before. If you have, I assure you, theirs is 90 or 95% similar to the same snack served anywhere else. Is it worth going to if you're already in the neighborhood? Absolutely yes. Is it worth going out of your way for repeatedly and being disappointed because they don't stick to the opening hours they put on Google and refuse to accept edits on? In my opinion, no. Is it fair to even judge a place like this in the same category as places like Ekachan? It's absurd. Moving on. Number 14, Gorang, is yet another rather unremarkable street food place. According to Michelin, Gorang has been serving deep fried dough sticks for almost 4 decades. No matter what shape they take, crocodile, dinosaur, dragon, or elephant, each one boasts the same puffy perfection and crispy texture. Other bites, such as the deep fried bun and fried whole wheat dough, are also great. It's fried dough, it's just donuts. With a side of either condensed milk or cheap pandan pudding. It was tasty and the shapes are cute. They'll make you a dinosaur or a dragon or a crocodile, a frog, an elephant. But they're just donuts. It's just a cheap little place for kids in the Ton Lam Yai market. There's nothing special about the food whatsoever. The condensed milk and the pandan pudding are cheap, off the shelf. The batter has no pepper or dried fruit or anything whatsoever to make it at all different from any other fried donuts you've ever had. The hot coffee was quite good, I'll give them that. It was made in the traditional Chinese street stall manner in a huge aluminum drum with sugar and condensed milk added after. Haven't seen that in a long time. That's cool. Is it worth coming to if you happen to be walking around this market anyway? Maybe. I did not appreciate the owner smoking in the back and directly in front of the restaurant multiple times, and I couldn't have been there for longer than 25 minutes. Why? Did they think diners can't smell them when they're only 2 feet away? Is it worth going out of your way to visit? No. I think Instagrammable street food has been such an aggressive tourist tactic in Asia for so long now that it's found its way into places it should never be, like the Michelin Guide. This is another multiple minute rant I edited out of here and put in the Michelin Gossip video. This place was clearly originally intended as somewhere to feed your children when they get grumpy while you're shopping. All they sell is donuts, pork congee, soft boiled eggs, coffee, and Milo. Does anyone edit these Bib Gourmand pics at all? Number 15, Kanom Jeen Sanpakoy. This is one of the only restaurants in Tongkam Market that stays open during in-between hours. When I was there around 3 o'clock, most stalls were closed. According to Michelin, established in 1977 and a local favorite at Tongkam Market, this spot offers tasty and affordable Kanom Jeen fresh rice vermicelli with various curries. Try the Nam Lo, a mix of spicy pork and chicken curry sauces. If noodles aren't your thing, swap them for rice. Not only are the street food dishes here delicious, but they're great value too, especially when you consider that side vegetables are unlimited. 1977 is a long time ago, so I guess this place has a sufficient customer base to work through the day. I understand why people like this. The curries are sufficiently complex. And the portions of blood pudding, especially, and meat too, are monumental. Really, they give you so much food. It's so generous, I felt like there weren't enough noodles for me. I've eaten enough Asian street meat and noodle soups to know this is tops. I really get it. I really do. Just me, personally, I don't really like it. Perhaps if I found myself in the neighborhood again, I'd give the green and red beef curries a spin. They have good reviews on Google. I always feel like when I don't love a famous place, it's my fault, and I just need to keep trying dishes until I find something I do like. But I can only eat so much in a meal. There are only so many meals in a day. And with the overabundance of Michelin Bib Gourmand picks, I probably won't find myself here again, to be honest. If you don't count specials, they sell 9 dishes here. The first thing I ordered was Nam Nya, or Northern Thai spicy pork sauce on noodles. I ordered this one because it was the most iconically northern choice. A classic tomato base, but just spicy and layered enough. I can't stand this quality of meat. Bones, cartilage, fat, gristle, etc. I understand it's a soup. I understand this is common throughout Asia, but it's not for me. Despite there being so much meat, I don't think there is one clean bite of just pork in the bowl. I found myself picking the meat apart for little bits with my spoon and fork. At times, I've wondered if I'm fed the worst cuts because I'm an overweight white woman, or if other people are generally pleased to eat this. Anyway, the hefty portions of blood pudding make up for it, I suppose, if you like it. And the blood pudding was sufficiently smooth and semi-sweet. I couldn't say whether the Kanom Jeen, the famous vermicelli thin rice noodles, were good or not. I'm simply too ignorant to tell you. I've had it enough times to realize I don't really like it. I prefer thick noodles with some chew. I like egg noodles, things like that. Yeah, I get how this bowl of soup has kept them in business for almost 50 years. It's just not for me. But in the interest of trying the Michelin recommendation, which perhaps is more to Western tastes, I also ordered the Nam Lor, described on their menu as half Nam Niao and half Nam Ya Ga Ti, or chicken in coconut milk sauce. I don't know why I was so surprised that this didn't taste much different from the Nam Miao. I'd say the flavors were equally good and the quality of meat equally low. What part of the chicken even was this? I have no idea. Maybe I should have opted for the Mudeng themed special Nam Miao instead, which was a little bit more expensive but looked maybe better. I don't know. I don't believe anyone reading Michelin for recommendations cares about the unlimited pickled relish. Do you? Number 16, Nashantra. Based on the mostly glowing Google reviews, room price, and location in the mountains, I expected Nashantra, the restaurant at the Chantra Kiri Hotel, to be the highest quality food and most luxurious environment and experience among the Bib Gourmands. I was disappointed. According to Michelin, set up in the hills inside the Chantra Hotel, Nashantra offers gorgeous views of the national park and a menu that features central and northern Thai dishes. Vegetables and herbs come from their next door farm, and everything else, like the savory northern sausage with chili paste, is made from scratch. Don't miss their signature minced pork with fresh veg and spicy sauce, or the piquant yellow curry soup with sea bass. Start your evening outside with a seat by the infinity pool. Being in the mountains, this is another place like Tunin Garden where, if you haven't rented a car or motorcycle, you need to hire a Grab driver for a minimum of 4 hours just to have reliable transport there and back. Unlike Tunin, the ride here is not scenic. We all know the difference between a beautiful drive in the country where green mountain vistas alternate with dense tropical foliage and long drives through sort of downtrodden outskirts where the roads are lined with motorcycle repair shops, bus parking lots, construction, warehouses, etc. This drive is the latter, and it's long, about an hour from the old city. When you do arrive, the entrance is confusing. There's no signage. I climbed the same steep hill, I mean really steep hill, like a car could not go up it, twice, trying 3 different buildings before I finally landed in the restaurant. The view of the mountains beyond is good, but marred by lots of large plastic-covered outdoor furniture between the open-air dining room and the pool. It's such a strange choice. What kind of patio furniture needs to be protected from the elements at the expense of making guests feel unwelcome? I guess there were umbrellas and fans ready for the Michelin man. Everyone there at the lunchtime service I attended was directed indoors. The mediocrity and carelessness did not end there. Of course, I try to go along with the recommendations. Unfortunately, the yellow sea bass curry is no longer on the menu, but excited to try more homemade Chiang Mai sausage. I asked the waitress if she would mind if I could see where or how they made it, and she told me they just buy it at the market. So I don't know if that's a new thing or if the Michelin inspector isn't as anonymous as they really need to be. The food I did order was covered with bugs, dead gnats, and I think a mosquito in every layer of my starting to brown lettuce and my pork hinlay. It's honestly just disrespectful. First of all, when was this food bought? Why was it not covered? Who decided to not rinse this before serving it to a paying customer? How the fuck did this end up in the Michelin guide? I didn't find one little bug deep inside somewhere. It was many, clearly visible to the naked eye. The cook must have seen it. The waitress must have seen it. They don't serve beer or cocktails or wine by the glass, only by the bottle. And although, it's Thailand, so I understand, the wine list is nothing special. So I couldn't even drown my sorrows in anything but a fresh coconut. That was nice. It's pretty hard, I guess, to be fair to food that you have to pick the bugs out of, but here's my opinion. First, the minced pork served with fresh vegetable and spicy sauce. Utterly mid. It occurred to me while eating this that this is Thai tacos. The fermented noodles and plain minced pork with 2 different kinds of spicy sauces, one a little bit more sour than the other, wrapped with some herbs in a lettuce shell, I guess. The flavors are obviously different and region specific, but it's the exact same concept. It's hard to do super well, but also really hard to mess up. Although I guess the bugs are messing up. In lieu of the yellow curry, the waitress recommended, drumroll please, the pork hinlay. But I'm a good sport, so I went with it. Just compare how small what they served me looks sitting in the same bowl to the Michelin picture. It was more fat than pork, almost zero actual curry or stew in there, subpar to mid flavor. The whole experience was so disappointing. And then when I wanted to pay, they do this kind of smarmy thing where they technically take cards, but in the year 2024 don't have tap to pay or QR codes. You have to hand them a physical card. For me, this place was a waste of money and time, and I will talk about it more in my Michelin Chiang Mai gossip video. Number 17, Meena rice-based cuisine. According to Michelin, Don't be alarmed when you pass through a rice field driving here, as this hidden gem is worth it. As its name suggests, this alfresco restaurant specializes in rice, alongside new spins on Thai classics. Most are garnished with fruits and edible flowers, giving them bursts of color. Along with the five-color rice balls, northern-style spicy minced fish salad is a delight. Vegans will enjoy their many options, including the spicy stir-fried orangi mushrooms. As usual, the non-food elements first. It's a short drive outside of the historic city, which could be nice if it weren't in the middle of a sprawling tourist village. I was here, I think, the first week in October, and there were just endless rows of closed shops. Without any exaggeration, perhaps 40 or 50 closed shops selling so-called local crafts, many of which I recognize, having traveled extensively through these countries, as cheap wholesale goods from Vietnam and Laos. I guess these shops only open during the super high season, maybe holidays, maybe for those giant Chinese tour groups, maybe only for some kind of evening market I'm unaware of. It's all clearly meant to cater to tourists who value crunchy authenticity, but it's actually incredibly bourgeois and dystopian. I'm going to try to say something nice. At the restaurant itself, they have a couple old houses, authentic old houses that are charming. That's lovely. Service was the slowest I experienced in Chiang Mai, and this is a pet peeve of mine as a single lady. It's the kind of place that prioritizes men and families over women and singles. I arrived just before a family of 13 and wasn't even asked to order until every single one of them had ordered and half of them had their food served. I imagine this is a constant problem for anybody who doesn't eat here in a huge family group because there's a huge outdoor playground complete with jungle gyms and ponds. So the place is frequented by families with very young, loud children. There's frankly no food that could make that service acceptable to me. That said, the food was indeed subpar. I think we've officially hit the point where I'm just describing places I didn't like at all, so please bear with me. I genuinely do not know what they were referring to with twists on classics. The menu is indeed extensive, but I tried to order 3 or 4 things that were not available. I love mushrooms. I tried to order those mushrooms. They did not have them. As for the food, I tried their 5-colored rice. I've had this style of rice before in Nyonya restaurants in Malaysia where the different colors of rice actually have different tastes because they're colored by different herbs. This was extremely bland, and I really gave them a chance. I ordered perhaps my all-time favorite Thai dish, the spicy wild beetle leaf curry with crab meat. It was very just okay. Obviously, I'll never go back. Number 18, Dan Chicken Rice San Soi location. According to Michelin, for over 20 years, this local favorite has been serving tasty, wallet-friendly chicken rice, first in Samyak Market in San Sai, and now at this larger branch on Old San Sai Road. Show up early, both to beat the crowds and because the food invariably runs out before closing time. I have spent an inordinate amount of time pondering Hainanese chicken rice and eaten it what feels like a million times because it is inevitably recommended throughout Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and beyond. The first time I had kumga in Hoi An, prepared by a famous grandmother who had been serving it from a traditional recipe in that same location since 1969, I was just confused. At that time, hard to believe it was 4 years ago now, I wrote, quote, bad kumga is bland, verging on inedible. Great kumga is still quite boring in my opinion, but refreshing in its simplicity, the kind of food I would eat if I had a sick stomach and needed to cut sugar, spice, and grease. It will never be my favorite dish, too boring, but it is incredibly familiar to me, tasting just like the chicken broth at old-school Chinatown restaurants in New York. It makes sense given the southern coastal Chinese diaspora of 200 years ago, and it was wonderful to discover that these dishes I've eaten literally across the world from each other are so true to an ancient original, end quote. I understand intellectually and empathically how nostalgia is inextricably enmeshed with cuisine. So although I personally find it quite boring, I do get it. According to Adam Liao, quote, It was created by migrants from the island of Hainan in China's far south who arrived in Southeast Asia around the turn of the 20th century. My family is Hainanese. My grandfather arrived in Malaysia from Hainan in or around 1915. The dish itself is based on a traditional Hainanese delicacy called Wenchang chicken. Specific free-roaming chickens from the Hainanese town of Wenchang are fed on peanut bran, coconut, and various other things, and they are famed for their generous fat, flavorful meat, and tender skin. The most prized birds are the capons, huge 3 to 4 kilogram castrated roosters with incredible flavor. On Hainan, the Wenchang chickens are usually boiled just in salted water with the pure flavor of the bird itself. It's then served with a sauce of some kind, which can vary from establishment to establishment. One popular sauce is made from salt-fermented crushed yellow chilies. The orange-colored ginger and chili sauce served with Hainanese chicken rice in Southeast Asia is an adaptation of this. Of course, the dish Hainanese chicken rice is very different from its origins in Wenchang chicken. The elements are generally just a free-range or kampong chicken poached in a signature broth. I now understand the ritual of chasing down every chicken rice stall, the same way I understand ordering a grilled cheese at every diner. Depending on where you are and how much money you have, it could range from sublime Somerset cheddar on Dutch rye to disheartening sliced American cheese product on Wonder Bread. Odds are it will be pretty good, and maybe, just possibly, this one could be perfect. So there we have it. But I do not see diners across America serving grilled cheeses getting Michelin Bib Gourmands, and that's why Dan Chicken Rice ranks so low on this list. Everything about it is perfectly fine and good, as it should be. As far as poached chicken goes, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. The broth, maybe a 5 or 6. The sauce, yeah, maybe a 4 or 5. It's tasty, it's cheap, it's accessible, it's cultural. It is not a delicacy. And if it were in a better location, I'd probably rank it at more like number 12 or number 13. But this is another long drive through nowhere. It's 40 minutes one way on a dusty highway. And while that's great for commuters, in my opinion, it's not at all worth visiting for tourists. Yeah, I would say don't. Don't waste your time. And don't worry about them. Their business is popping with locals. Number 19, Sane. This place is marketed as a Northern Thai steakhouse. According to Michelin, this halal kitchen next to the Ping River is one for beef fans. With indoor and outdoor dining, the big outdoor kitchen cooks a creative a la carte menu with balanced flavors. The beef fat rice topped with egg yolk has a smoky flavor. The spicy Thai soup with beef shank is packed with spice aroma. Clearly, the Michelin inspector didn't actually visit this restaurant in 2024 because they moved locations, there's no longer any outdoor seating, the place is much smaller, and the signature beef soup is off the menu. All the beef here is really low quality. It's flavorless, tough, chewy, and about 1/3 untrimmed fat. However, that's still not the reason this place ranks so low on my list. It still might come in around, I don't know, 14, 15, if not for their clientele. I was there twice, and this place is absolutely overrun with disgusting Chinese. And I do not mean the ethnicity, don't play yourself. You know what I'm talking about, the notoriously poorly mannered mainland Chinese that have become the number one tourists by volume and proportion in Southeast Asia over the past 15 years. These mainland tourists or visa abusers, many of them are fake investors, fake students, appalled me so much I had to get my food to go. I'm not even joking. First of all, they all chain smoke on stools right in front of the restaurant before and after their meal, not even bothering to close the door. Worse, every single chain smoking man opened the door on purpose while smoking and smoked inside the restaurant so they could take photos of their girlfriend or kids posing in front of the Michelin signs, which are posted inside the door. Could they have just taken their photos before they lit up and closed the door behind them? Sure, if they had manners, but they don't. The place is not even 100 square feet, so it smelled like an inescapable ashtray. And this wasn't one guy or one family. Before my food was even served, from the time I sat down to the time I realized that I could not eat here, 5 different men did this. 5 different men smoked in the restaurant. I have asthma, so it was an absolute fucking nightmare, but it got even worse with one especially charming family. Dad hawked loogies all over the doorway. Literally, the single wide door you have to walk in and out of the restaurant, there's only one. Hawked loogies all over the doorway after his smokes. And mom did nothing while their baby girl, I'm going to say 2, 3-year-old, literally standing at her dad's feet right next to the front door where people had to step around and over her to go in and out, and in full view of every single patron because the place has floor to ceiling windows, dropped her diaper, squatted, and pissed on the gravel in front of the restaurant, and the staff did nothing. They did nothing about the smoking, spitting, or pissing. I flagged down the waitress and asked her if they were going to do anything about it, and she apologized profusely and packed an extra juice with my takeaway. That would be a no. Like many business owners, this one seems to value trash cash more than ambiance. And the twisted irony here is that if you go to the Google reviews, all of the reviews are from Chinese people and they're all bad. They're not even leaving her good reviews. I can't stand it. Stop indulging these people. Ugh. But I guess let's talk about the food. First, the drinks. They don't serve alcohol, and though there's a menu of 8 or 10 locally made juices, they all taste almost the same because they're oversweet and you really can't discern the flavors. Of the 3 I tried, tamarind was my favorite, lemongrass the second best, and chrysanthemum was, in my opinion, the worst. The star of the show at this restaurant, I actually wouldn't go back for physically, maybe order on Food Panda or Grab if that's a possibility, is the lapet tok, or Burmese tea leaf salad. It's the only genuinely good thing at this restaurant. This is a traditional Shan dish. The Shan people are an ethnic group of Thai dialect speakers who emigrated from China south to Burma, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and India beginning in the 900s. The star ingredient is fermented tea leaves mixed with cabbage and various toasted legumes, topped with some sesame seeds and dried garlic. The toasted nuts and seeds were especially delicious. The flavor is nutty. It's very, very slightly sour, really wonderful. According to the hype, the owner goes to the country market every morning at 5 a.m. to buy 1 or 2 or 3 or however many cows they need to fill the predicted demand that day. Has the thing butchered on the spot, brings it back to the restaurant, uses different parts in their different signature dishes, and when it's gone, it's gone. According to some of these reviews, when they were really blowing up, they actually sold out sometimes mid-lunch. That was not my experience. The rice tasted okay, but nothing nuanced. The steak was regrettable, not tender at all, and a bit of an odd taste. I don't understand and didn't touch the untrimmed fat. Finally, the sun-dried beef with ma quan pepper. Being the north, I was expecting something closer to the sun-dried beef I had in Laos. Ma quan, or ma queen, is a special local northern Thai species of pepper related to Sichuan pepper that peaks in early November. So being there November 8th, I was especially excited to try this. The pepper was good, but there were no other flavors. The sun-dried beef had no sun-dried taste. It was just scenery. In good conscience, I not only cannot recommend this place, I must steer you away from it. Last and, yes, least, Rotdee Pad. As I'm sure you know by now, I've often felt the Michelin reviewers in Asia are far too generous, awarding restaurants that would never garner similar recognition in long-established markets like Europe, the Americas, Japan. Rotdee Pad is possibly the best example of this I've ever come across. According to Michelin, first-timers should order the plain crispy roti with condensed milk to start. The roti dough here is uniquely made without eggs, but slowly cooked to a crispy, chewy perfection in coconut oil. Choose from 20 toppings. The way it works here is you write your order down and put it on a spike. So if you order first, you get served last. I was literally the first person at the cart, but waited 15 minutes and was mildly assaulted by a tour group of 7 or 8 from Singapore, elbowing me to the side. YouTubers with DSLRs are crawling all around, filming every moment. I guess because it's cheap and they all love those street food videos. I was very surprised. I was the only one who wandered into the Wat next door to sit on the steps and eat. Most of the patrons stood in the street assuring each other of how good this was. Yet minutes later, there were a bunch of disapproving reviews on Google Maps. Sometimes I think I'm a dumb sycophant for trying to visit every Michelin wherever I may be, but these people are really next level. It is competent roti with standard off the shelf processed ingredients. That is to say, the cheapest chocolate syrup and condensed milk available at the supermarket, watered down or mixed with some sort of cheap vegetable oil to drizzle faster. They're not even using real Nutella, it's some sort of watery mix of the condensed milk and chocolate syrup. This roti is the same as any street corner in Malaysia. It's no better in terms of ingredients or cooking, and the service is way worse. It's better than a sandwich from 7-Eleven for the same price. That's the only nice thing I can say about this roti. I got the most expensive option they sell at 45 baht, banana, egg, and Nutella. It was banana and egg. Bad service, bad food, a long wait, and it's not even local fare. What? Obviously, don't bother. And that concludes my top to bottom ranking of all 20 Michelin Bib Gourmand 2025 restaurants. I hope this helps you pick somewhere good to eat when you visit Chiang Mai, and perhaps gave you a little tiny introduction to Lana and Shan cuisines. Don't forget to tune in for my scandalous Michelin Thailand gossip video. See you next time.